Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. So, folks, you know the drill. Read the article, share it on all your social media. We have their public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Folks, trigger warning one. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, an agape boarding school for boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of disabled people and people with mental health issues being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please go ahead. Make sure to utilize those headphones. Number two, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger, they are watching this. Very obviously, folks, parental supervision is very much advised, all right? All right, folks, where we left off. The FDA notes that a banned device is not barred from clerical study under an investigational device exemption pursuant to Section 520 of the FD&C Act. I do find it interesting because you keep bringing up this would be a ban until a study could propose that it has more benefits than it does risks. Here's the issue. As I have told you all previously, universities and private entities that usually conduct such clinical studies have outright refused. Hear me on this, folks. Outright refused to engage in such a study due to, and I quote, ethical concerns. Remember, we're talking about university departments that literally think nothing about throwing money at experiments that expose autistic kids to radiation directly to a part of their brain. These are the people who are saying that conducting such a study is unethical. I want you to think about that for a moment. About how unethical a device or a treatment program can be. That people like those at the Yale University, where their research center is, when those people who have no problem with exposing autistic children's brains to direct radiation rays are looking at you and saying that what you're doing is unethical, that should literally speak volumes. Might as be marching up and down the street with an Acme sign. You know what I'm saying, folks? Know what I'm saying? The wording is used in cases like this because it's legalese, right? The fact of the matter is, those studies will never be conducted because no one outside of that psychocircus Disney threw up acid trip to hell, those are going to be the only people who are going to use such a device. Therefore, no studies by any independent entities or university researchers are ever going to conduct that study. Okay? That's the reality of it. However, any such study must meet all applicable requirements, including but not limited to those for protection of human subjects, financial disclosure by clinical investigators, approval by institutional review boards, and investigational device exemptions. All of these, which the JRC to this day, in spite of all their freaking graphs, have not done. Okay? At no point in any time when they've conducted their so called studies in regards to using the GET device did they give two shits about the protection of the folks they were subjecting to this evil. Okay? These are individuals, and the world is full of them, who don't believe that we are human, let alone that we deserve to be able to even possess our human rights. I'm going to take you into a dark part of the medical model that is not usually talked about in polite company. And it comes from a lot of these old dinosaurs that are still lingering on. This idea that autistics, as well as other neurodivergents, because guess what, it's spread, do not believe that they have to respect our human rights because, quite frankly, they don't think we are human. Okay? Good. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Financial disclosures by clinical advisors. You see what they're going for here. Yes? Let me tell you what it actually looks like. A study that they are talking about must be conducted by an outside entity that in no way, shape, or form receives funding from, knows anyone from. You know what I mean? Completely separated with absolute zero attachments to anyone at the JRC staff or otherwise. Number one. Number two. All of this that it's talking about here, protection of human subjects, financial disclosure by clinical investigators. Where is the money coming from to conduct this study? Approval by institutional review boards. Most studies go through quite a few review boards before they're able to move ahead. Okay? I don't know quite as much on that as I know on this, but so I've been told by others who know more on the matter than myself. Of course, there's investigational device exemptions. This is what I find interesting when they talk about that this could be overturned if you are able to provide to the standards of the FDA a study that can show contrary to all the evidence, data, surveillance footage, and survivor stories. Problem is that they can't, folks. The only papers that the JRC can find that is done by universities that have no connection to the JRC is to go all the way back to the early 1980s and back from there. Since that time period, not a single independent entity or university has even so much as asked to be a part of a clinical study in regards to what they get up to at the JRC. Every single one of them for over 20, 30, 40 years have all repeatedly said the same thing. It's unethical. Because of that, had the FDA named the device, I do not think that in part of that little thing being in there, you get where I'm going with this, right? Because there is no place on earth that is willing to conduct that study. Which means, had the GET device been the one that was named throughout this document, all the side arguments that we have read in regards to trying to tailor treatment and interfere with medicine wouldn't be able to distract from what the case is supposed to be about. Now, if this was just a simple mistake, it would have been very easy for them to go back in and put on there the device that gathered so many people and put so much effort into those hearings to provide the information, the true information on the device in question here. But here we are, and we're talking about tailoring. Does the FDA have the right to say that you only ban a device regards to one particular use? By trying to be too careful, they completely nulled and voided the very rule that they put out. We're going to go ahead and close on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit those comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you next vid.